Welcome back to Aging is for Everyone. We are talking about options for senior care or senior living. We've got great guests with us today, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask are adult care facilities. You know, there's different choices at adult care facility. We talked a little bit about what they provide, but you know, is there a difference between adult care facility, assisted living, or is it just something that they call different things?
They are all the same, but in New York State there are different licensing procedures. So at an assisted living facility, our residents would be helped with meal preparation. Well, meal preparation is provided, 3 meals daily, served waitress style, typically. Help with housekeeping, laundry, and linen services. A complement of activities. Pretty much everything would be done for a resident if they would like it to. However, if they want to remain independent, they can do that as well.
Okay.
At a lot of facilities, they do have small kitchenettes set up where they can prepare their own meals. But then on the one hand, if they say, oh, maybe I will make my breakfast today, but then, oh, I think I'll just have the staff make my lunch for me and just, you know, relax and take in the day.
Right, right. So there's still choices for people even within a slightly higher level of care.
Definitely, yes.
That's good to know. When is an adult care facility a good choice for somebody?
It would be if you're, well, it depends. You know, it could be if the caregiver feels stressful and they can no longer care for their loved one at a time and point. If the individual is ready to make that change from home to an adult living facility, then they would come and tour, definitely talk about it,
right,
and make plans for future placement.
So they can be involved through the whole process. It's not a question of, and I'm sure you probably all recommend that people don't just show up with mom and say, here's your new home. You know, what are some tips you would give to somebody who's thinking about moving?
Definitely have a person-centered planning. Have the person involved from point A to, you know, all the way through the enrollment process until they absolutely move into the facility.
And Tammy, for nursing facility care, I mean, obviously sometimes it's just such a quick decision. But what advice would you give somebody who's faced with that quick decision?
Well, I would always say it's best to plan ahead when you can. Have an idea of what facilities or what area you'd like to look at. A lot of times for people, when it comes to nursing home placement, location is the most important. They want to be close by to family that can come and visit, close to the people that they know, and in surroundings or at least environments that are somewhat familiar to them. Generally, you wouldn't have somebody who lived and grew up in a rural area moving into a city facility, just as you wouldn't move a city resident out into the suburbs or into a rural area to live, unless, of course, sometimes you just don't have a choice, and if that's where you're offered a bed and you're able to go there. Right. So, but a lot of times what may precipitate it is just becoming too overwhelming to live at home alone, to not have anybody there to help take care of you. Right. You're feeling isolated and struggling to really stay home alone, and then it's time to just consider what your other options are. Right.
And do you find that there's times when there's a caregiver who's taking care of somebody and they just cannot do it anymore?
Yes, often it becomes overwhelming. They may have a fall, or the caregiver may have other things going on in their own personal life where they can't focus on the person that they're trying to take care of, and their own home life may be suffering for it.
Right, right, right. Cassie, what do you think as far as people in your situation have a little bit more choice? They don't have to make that decision as quickly. So what are some tips you would give folks?
And you know, Laura, that can be a double-edged sword because what happens is they're doing great, they hear there's an apartment out there, and they just think, oh, I've got plenty of time. And then their house is, for some reason, it's no longer safe for them to live there structurally. Right. And they're put in these positions, and they have fixed income, and there's a 2.5-year wait list on the wait for an independent subsidized apartment. So I cannot stress enough, get out there. You know, we never take a road trip without a map and a plan. Create your own map and your plan for your life. What top things mean the most to you? Tour. See as much as you can. Know as much as you can. Gather information. Ask questions. And then, even as independent as you are, identify who in your family or your caregiver would be involved in any future decision making, and share that information with them. So often I see the reactive rather than the proactive. So to be proactive, to share with your family members your desires, what you want when you can, so for your future. And I think that is so important all the way through. I can just support what Tammy and Lisa said.
That's great. That's great, because people, like you said, they really need to think about making a plan. And what are some of the questions that people should ask that maybe they don't ask, and then you have to remind them? Are there any specific questions that people should ask when they're touring facilities?
Absolutely. I think they should know everything that's included, amenities. I think that they should, anything related to the actual, if it's an independent apartment, anything related to the actual apartment. I think they should ask a couple of the questions you asked us. I think they should ask questions: what if I need more care? Can I bring in an outside agency? Do you recommend any? Is there other options here within this organization? The questions that you asked us are great questions that they can even ask. And certainly, what is my next step? And how does that process work? Is there anybody here who can support us when we get to that point?
And Lisa, what would you say for that level of care, the assisted living? What are some of the questions people don't ask?
Yeah, I agree with Cassie. Ask away. I mean, no question is a stupid question. Pretty much everything that Cassie said covered it. You can ask any question at all. Talk to the administrator, talk to staff, even talk to residents, and just, ask any questions that you would like. Do you like the food? If you think it's a silly question, just, ask away. That's what we're there for. That's, that's our job.
Right.
So.
Or ask for a meal.
Yeah, exactly. Taste and sample the food.
A lot of places will let you do that.
Yes.
So I know that. Now, there's a lot to get into with questions you should ask at a nursing home. So why don't you start with just a few, and then when we come back.
Okay. A lot of times with nursing home, the types of questions you want to ask are related to the care you're receiving. You also want to know, things like visiting. Can I visit at unlimited times? Generally, nursing facilities are required to stay open 24 hours and accommodate the visitors of our residents. We are the residents' home, and we're there to serve them. So we're not there to restrict their freedoms, but to be as accommodating as possible. So ask the facility, how do they intend to do that? Ask them, can you bring in things from home? Can you bring in decorations, things to hang on the wall? Clothing, how to take care of clothing. Should clothing be labeled? And a lot about the day-to-day customary routines. Ask them how they intend to get to know your family member, and how will they go out of their way to make sure that your family member feels at home.
I think those are some great questions that could probably go anywhere, really. So we'll be back with a few more questions for all of you. We'll be right back with more Aging is for Everyone.